So I'm just going to do a short review on this Autool spark plug tester. This is the SPT101. This is the twin version for the spark plug tester. They also do a 5 spark plug tester version. This tester cost roughly £20 on eBay, and I believe they do a similar one for a similar price on Amazon too. So in the box you get the spark plug tester, a UK power adapter and a user manual. We'll now have a close-up look at the spark plug tester. So as you can see at the top there, we've got the two recesses for the spark plugs to go in. You can just use one at a time, and there's a protective case there which just lifts up. Coming further down, we've got a left and right signal, the power, and then a power dial. In the manual it calls it a frequency gauge. It goes from 0 to 6, and it says that each increment 1 through 5 represents RPM of an engine. So you've got 1000, 2000, 3, 4, 5000 RPM. And on the right hand side here is where the power lead plugs into the side. So we'll go ahead now and I'll put the spark plugs in. I've got a used one and a new one. They're not identical make. Well, they're in GK, but they're not the same model numbers. But they're quite similar. So lift the cover up there. We'll insert one there. You can hear a positive click once they're in. Shut the cover. And I've got the lead here, which will plug into the side. There's no on-off button as such. There's just the rotary dial. At the moment it's in the off position, furthest to the left. And then when we click it on, we get a green power indication just there. As we increase the frequency, you can now hear and see the spark being generated on both spark plugs. We can keep increasing the speed until we max out at 6000 RPM. So on both the spark plugs there, left and right, we're getting a healthy purple spark. These spark plugs have been gapped correctly, and that tells me that those spark plugs are both fine. Now the one thing that does let the spark plug tester down is that if it's running, I can lift up the cover there and it continues to run. It would be nice if there was a micro switch in there that would disconnect the power. There is a sign saying please keep closed before testing, but I say so far that's the only negative thing I've found, is if that cover's lifted up, the machine will keep running. So, and it's as easy as knocking it on just by switching that dial. So if you're ever connecting and disconnecting, I would always remove the power lead first. As for other versions on the market, you do get inline spark plug testers which plug in the back of the spark plug and then the HT lead connects to them. A lot cheaper, a lot easier to use, but that's just showing you, this one's giving you a visual indication of the spark being generated. Those ones just show that there's a pulse, sort of a voltage running through the HT lead. I suppose you could take the spark plug out, put it against the block of the engine and run it that way, but this one, it just gives you a bit of an indication, a visual guide between two spark plugs. It does call it a comparator tester or an ignition analyzer on their website. But for the price of £20, which I paid for this one off eBay, and similar price off Amazon, it's a little bit of a gimmick, but overall I think it's quite a good little machine. If it was £50, 60, close to £100, I wouldn't go for it. I think there's easier and cheaper methods to test for a spark, but for the sake for testing solely the spark plug, I think it's quite a good little tester there. It's quite compact, it's light, and you just need a mains supply to run it. So that was the quick review of this SPT101 spark plug tester. I wasn't sponsored or paid in any way to do this review. This is solely off my own experience using it. Probably will use it again. I do a lot of outboard engines, as you know, and testing for spark is a fundamental way of diagnosing an engine. And although the spark plugs, in my opinion, they're very rarely at fault, it's a good little machine to test on the fly. I would probably, personally, I'd probably use an inline HT lead tester or just put the spark plug against the block just for the sake of having to get this machine out and plug it in and all that. But for someone that's doing some work at home, or you just want to see the condition of a spark, see if it's seeing if you're getting a good spark across the gap, then an ideal little machine to have. So I hope you've enjoyed that small review there. I will leave a link to the eBay, Amazon store where you can buy them from. Like I say, they're about £20, so not a bank breaker at all, and it's a great little machine to have. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like this video if you haven't already.